I remember when I first experienced the brain zaps symptom, it scared the daylights out of me. Out of nowhere, my brain and head just seemed to vibrate intensely just for like a moment or two, and it really scared me. I thought, what was that? Uh, Initially, I thought I was having a stroke or a brain aneurysm, or maybe I thought it was a result of a cancer or something rather. It just startled me so much. But it was such a brief moment, and then it disappeared. So it kept me on guard all this time, thinking, when is that going to come back? And what was that? And I worried the entire day about what it was and kept looking for it. Is it there? Is it there? No, didn't feel it. 2 or 3 days later, I was still thinking about it, but I just thought, oh, whatever that was, I'm glad it's gone. Then I went on with my day, and about several weeks later, I got another one, but this one was even more intense than the first one. And I thought, what was that? What are these things? And I started to really get worried about it. So I thought, at that time there was no internet, so I went and looked for a medical resource to find out what that might have been. Couldn't find anything. And so I worried about it more and more and more, and then I was starting to get them more and more. And like they weren't, constantly. It's just like every once in a while, and each day I might get two or three. And a lot of times they would come when I was even resting, so it didn't make any sense. I couldn't connect the dots as to why it was happening. But they were very, very terrifying, especially when you've never had one. And so that was kind of the nature of that. And over the course of time, as I started to get more information about anxiety, I learned what they were and that they weren't harmful, but just an indication of elevated stress. So I was more accepting of them, but it didn't mean they stopped. In fact, they continued on almost my entire struggle off and on for all those years. But as my body was starting to calm down, they would eventually start to get, more spaced out. I wasn't getting them as regular, and they weren't as intense. And over the course of time, as my body stress came lower and lower and lower and back to normal health, they completely stopped. So, brain zaps, I can understand how concerning they might be, but we don't have to be worried about them, just recognizing they are an indication of elevated stress. And when the body stress returns to a normal level, they completely stop. Now, I did have a few of those during the course of my life when my stress was really elevated, but they were brief and I knew what they were, so I didn't give them much attention. Again, just working at reducing my stress over the course of time eliminated them again. So I know they can be distressing, but you don't have to be concerned about them. They're not dangerous. They're not an indication of anything serious or medical or a mental breakdown. What they are is just an indication of elevated stress and what your body does in response. For more information, you can read the description we have in the symptom itself, or if you want more in-depth information, you can become a member of our recovery support area and learn about them in depth there. I've had countless of those brain zaps over the course of my 12-year struggle with anxiety disorder. So many I can't even count. So I've had a lot of them. Sometimes it would be, off and on numerous times during the day. Sometimes it wouldn't show up for weeks. No matter, they're all one and the same. There isn't any reason to be worried about them. They are very, very common for elevated stress. Most people experience these. Once again, I know how frightening they can be. There's no question about it. But we don't have to worry about them. They're just an artifact of elevated stress. They will completely disappear when you work at reducing your body's stress and give your body sufficient time to recover.